What we saw in the Nimitz release was all about disinformation. It also means that the report to Congress was a lie.
Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
So I'm wondering about air traffic. Are we clear?
We are clear.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it goes.
That's fantastic.
Hi and welcome back. I thought what we should do today is look at the big picture of UAP.
What in the crap?
Hey, Travis, you copy?
Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
If Brandon's nearby, can you bring him in real quick? We'll be right there.
What we actually know, what we've learned from history, what we know about current military operations.
Okay, well, there's the lasers.
Yeah, I'm doing an instant playback. You see this?
Yeah. Wow, what the crap is that?
It's moving,
It's moving way too fast for it to be a satellite.
and this just appeared next to the lasers.
Yeah, it looks like it's headed towards the apex.
That's crazy. Okay.
When did this appear?
This was just now.
There is one type of advanced technology that can perform all these tricks of physics. This is a United States patent application. Item 200 is a laser-induced plasma to the side and behind the aircraft.
I always turn this on its head because most of these sort of documentaries are always like alien invasion and all this stuff. No. The issue is that, if they were hostile, we would know it by now.
And especially what military-funded science projects are going on right now. And very much what we know about counterintelligence. And if you can make something appear as if it's real, who knows what we're really looking at.
Eric captured one of the most vivid UAPs we've seen during our experiments. And it was maneuvering right above the apex of our laser beams, where we were also broadcasting our 1.6 gigahertz communication signal. So all I could wonder was, did we cause that to appear? And is that what deflected our rocket?
Yeah, lightsabers and lasers stopping in midair totally exist. Astronomers use them every day. Guide stars. And guide stars introduce an enormous field of my research and something you need to know about, and that's called LIP. Laser-induced plasma. Oh, it's got the plasma word. Yeah, laser-induced plasma. What is it? Well, you can take 3 high-powered lasers, focus them to a focal point. The energy from the laser turns the air into the fourth state of matter, a plasma, and a glowing ball of energy appears, which you can move around.
Laser fusion, the idea with laser fusion, the way I'm fond of explaining it is that you're trying to make a miniature hydrogen bomb, ignited by a laser, and
Gone.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's insane.
This is the point at which I just caught a glimpse of this thing. So it emerged from, I don't know if it was...
That's down below the mesa. I don't know if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing or not.
Is it a portal? Are we seeing portals open?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, back it up. All right, back it up.
And it does look like it's going right to where the laser's pointed.
You can get millions right now by applying for this grant. Laser-induced plasma is today's big military technology because you can do so many amazing things with it. Let me explain.
Okay, you want me to zoom in?
Yeah. Looks like there's some kind of structure in the middle of it.
It has edges. Do you see that?
Yeah, but the edges seem to move.
Check it out.
It looks sort of amorphous.
Yeah, it does appear to be changing shape.
Unbelievable.
Plasma, the fourth state of matter's behavior, is extraordinary. The fourth state of matter, plasma, has unique qualities that cannot be compared to other states of matter. Probably plasma's strangest feature is how it can spontaneously form shapes.
Now, I don't know, but it looks like the UAP we saw tonight might have come from behind or actually from inside the mesa. And then it just disappeared into the anomaly above the triangle.
That's crazy.
Is that what messed with our rockets? Did we cause it to appear by broadcasting the 1.6 gigahertz signal? And then, where did it go? Skinwalker Ranch has been a haven for rumors about UAPs actually entering and exiting from the mesa, portals, and all kinds of other bizarre phenomena for decades, if not centuries. Tonight, we may have finally captured evidence that some of that could be true.
But your government is gullible. NORAD, the Air Force, the Navy are all looking for conventional stuff, supersonic or transonic objects, ICBMs from Russia. Come on, Defense Department, get with the picture. There's stuff out there that you're ignoring.
Laser fusion, the idea with laser fusion, the way I'm fond of explaining it is that you're trying to make a miniature hydrogen bomb ignited by a laser. And much of the early work historically on laser fusion was actually done here. The dream, however, is to do laser fusion not just for looking at target physics or weapon physics, but to actually make electricity. And
they knew that there was a potential military application for plasma manifestations to possibly shock aircrew into changing suddenly direction, causing crashes. If only there could be a way of inducing man-made plasma in the air, because that's what they had seen with Foo Fighters. They knew that there's a natural form of plasma, Earth-like type stuff, and they tried desperately to militarize it.
The U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory told CNN it hopes to demonstrate a fighter jet laser as soon as 2020.
It really is a national tipping point where we see the technology evolving and maturing to the stage where it really can be used.
This year, the Air Force, the Pentagon research arm DARPA, and Lockheed Martin successfully tested a laser turret that would allow near supersonic planes to surround themselves with a 360-degree defensive laser shield.
There is an overwhelming mass of proven, real government documents that have been released, largely through the Freedom of Information Act, that show decades of, for example, airspace violations, very sensitive places by objects doing what appear to be the impossible. We have these documents from the 1940s, we have them from the 1950s, we have them from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So these airspace violations continue. They are provocative, they are at times seemingly confrontational.
Pentagon scientists have finished testing on an early weapon that can make laser plasma balls talk.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
It's called the laser-induced plasma effect, and it's made by the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate. So what they've done is basically created a laser that can shoot out to a certain distance, and they can pipe in sound and sound waves through it and actually make human voice sounds and commands. Now where this becomes useful is around an area where you want to keep a perimeter secure. So essentially you can shoot out this laser, you can then talk to the people on the edge of the perimeter rather than sending troops out there and tell them to get away, or you're going to shoot, or get away, or they're going to use other means to deter them.
The FBI says anyone convicted of aiming a laser at an aircraft could spend up to 5 years in prison or face $250,000 in fines. The FBI says the pilot, crew, and passengers aren't the only ones at risk, so is everyone else on the ground.
I want my pilot to be concentrating on landing the aircraft safely. I don't want him to be temporarily blinded or distracted by something else, especially by someone on the ground pointing a laser in my face.
Not good enough. The US and NATO have to wake up and not have strategic surprise. They have to start looking in the right place for things that are out there. And I humbly think that the US, NATO's enemies, are taking advantage of us because we have been gullible.
If you would believe, as the flying saucer cultists would have us believe, that the majority of the saucer reports are due to visitations, then you have a very strange situation. That means several spaceships are coming to the Earth over interstellar distances every day, as if all the anthropologists in the world were to converge on one of the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean, because they just invented the fishnet there or something.
Whatever they are, entered US airspace without anybody knowing about it and took advantage of us not looking in the right place.
We all obtain software all the time, and you bet that when the software is released, they're pretty sure there are no errors in it. A week later, they need an update. A month later, another update, okay? This is also true with hardware. You can make hardware, especially complex hardware. There are things that can happen inside the hardware, especially if it's brand new and the very latest thing, that are not fully characterized and not fully understood. In your list of what those detections could have been, you did not include a failure of the hardware to register information correctly. And so what we might have is an artifact inside the hardware that everyone is now assuming is real, and then going off all limits to interpret it. And so I'm just saying, I simply want better evidence. That's all. And why should you care? Why should anyone care what I think? Go catch the aliens. Do it. I have no problems. But I want to remind you, the government doesn't own the sky.
And you can move it. It can go forwards and backwards. You can fly it around. It can do things that apparently break the laws of physics. Actually, they don't break the laws of physics. They break the laws of known propulsion. They can fly fast. The dot can fly faster than a known aircraft using any propulsion method, obviously faster than the human body could ever stand. You're talking Mach 35. It can go up into space, it can go down onto the ocean, it can go underwater, it can fly around, just like a cat chasing a dot from a laser pointer. Zoom, 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 zoom. You can move it around, but you can do more.
So the public is thinking about aliens all the time. We are ripe for interpreting whatever we don't understand in the context of something that we believe we do understand. We all know what aliens look like. They have big heads and big eyes, and they walk, and they have skinny bodies. You know, how come nobody sees an alien with big muscles coming down, or an alien that looks like a lobster, right? So we're preconditioned to believe, all right, more than we are preconditioned to question. And so I see this footage, as you teased earlier in the program with the clip of me at a previous interview. I'm just thinking, we have 3 billion smartphones activated in this world and interconnected. And they can all take high resolution, high quality photos, and especially video. So in a sense, we are crowdsourcing the monitoring of visitors to Earth from space. And I'm disappointed that the best evidence put forward are these monochromatic videos taken by Navy pilots, as though the aliens are only interested in showing up in front of the US military.
So are these aliens from the planet Zog? Probably not. Although they might be. That's always at the bottom of the list. Are they an advanced military spy system from a potential enemy? Yeah, possibly. But in my opinion, were they released by the Navy to trick the media into telling foreign power that we have an advanced technology? Yeah. Is there a way of making a volumetric shape in the sky and flying it around like a cat chasing a laser pointer? Yeah. Were they only filmed in military operational areas by the United States? Yeah. Has US counterintelligence ever done this kind of project before, where they've leaked data about advanced technology to trick the enemy? Oh yeah, SDI, Star Wars, and stealth. But I go further. I think we have been taken advantage of. Our UFO stigma and our weakness at looking at what's really out there has opened the door to foreign powers to take advantage of.
The United States government, the leader of the free world, is totally controlled by a wealthy oligarchy. A small handful of people that are just super rich. Most of them are not even in government, but they tell the government what to do. These are the people who are behind the UFO secrecy. They don't care if you know there's ETs out there. But if you know there's ETs out there, then you will know that there is alternative technology. And this could upset their monopolies over energy, fuel, transportation, communications, pharmaceuticals. And that's what they don't want. After all, who would continue to pay all these ever-increasing prices for gasoline that's polluting the air, choking us all, killing our kids? Why would we do that if we knew beyond any shadow of a doubt that there was non-polluting energy sources out there? This is what it's all about. Comes back to the old journalistic adage, follow the money.
Pentagon counterintelligence say we don't know what they are. Great! That means your enemy has to work really hard to understand what you do understand. And that's a great advantage to you. And 3, let's not tell everybody in the military. Let's have these as a dark project and make them appear in front of innocent Navy flying officers and who go, "Oh my God!"
Magnetite can be found in the meteoric dust floating in space. Dr. Levengood suggests that it can get mixed into plasma energy, like the aurora borealis, commonly known as the Northern Lights.
This occurs way up in the ionosphere, about 60 to 100 miles above the Earth. These are self-organized energies that form what we call plasma vortices.
These atmospheric anomalies can swirl around so quickly that, like a tornado, they can spin to Earth and pull the magnetite with it. This spiral of energy may explain how the increased density of magnetite gets on the ground.
You can get a certain amount of information out through the large media, but it's very superficial and very brief. That's what we found. The in-depth sort of disclosure of what's really going on, who's behind it, what the agenda is, that is almost always stopped. Or if they try to do it, it gets turned into something ridiculous.
I almost hate the term UFOs because they really aren't unidentified to the people that know what's going on, or the researchers too. But it's what a lot of people that have the answers felt it was safe to come out of the water, so they're putting out their information on the internet, you know, disguised or whatever. But so these other agents, per se, they're scanning all the time to counteract what's being said by other people from Intel that think it was safe to, okay, we can put this out, or they feel like it's the right thing to do now. You know, enough is enough. Mankind has a right to know type thing.
Is it possible that nobody really, there's no one who knows the ultimate answer, what the truth is?
I think now, and the reason I'm so terribly interested in this, is I don't think no one has the answers. And that is too bad, because there are answers out there.
This isn't entertainment. This is our survival. I saw that Dr. Greer would never stop doing this until he took his last breath, and that he needed help with this.
Language like, "We need to stop trying to contact aliens," seems to confirm my long-held suspicion that CE5 would be blamed for a staged alien attack. Do not believe this lie.
I hear from reputable sources that airline pilots, U.S. Air Force, Space Watch, radar operators, and very specifically underwater sonar operators are seeing stuff all the time that doesn't fit the threat AI profile of their weapon systems.
And what we're looking at in this microscope, in a way, is kind of like
the trail, the connection between that energy in the upper atmosphere that has come down and done something to this grass and to this soil. The magnetite is like proof of some unusual interaction.
It's a strong indication, yes.
Dr. Levengood also analyzed the grass samples and calculated subtle changes in the growth patterns caused by undetermined energies.
Plasma is one of the 4 fundamental states of matter. It consists of gas, ions, and electrons. It is the most abundant form of ordinary matter in the universe. Plasma was first systematically studied by Irving Langmuir in the 1920s. If we want to change the state of matter from liquid to solid to gas to plasma, we can turn a gas into a plasma by heating or a strong electromagnetic field. The presence of charged particles makes plasma electrically conductive. Plasma is dynamic. It can move. Individual ions of plasma can be collectively influenced by electromagnetic fields. This response to manipulate the motion of plasma has been exploited and is used in modern technology and military applications.
In Farnham, what you have found, the red and the blue, is that some energy is destructive and some energy is actually accelerating growth?
That's correct, yeah. And the neat part of it is, on this method, what we can do is we know that the way this energy changes with time in the grass follows a very precise mathematical function. So we can apply that function and see if this is actually metabolizing normally or not. We're not talking about an energy that produces the bovine excision. We're talking about a number of interacting energies, what we call in science boundary conditions.
Dr. Levengood's analysis indicated Linda's grass samples were taken in a circular pattern around the cow.
This one is the one taken at the west end, and it follows it, but notice how the slope, it's very almost flat. But of the animal, but it still follows that, it's still metabolizing grass.
Right.
And this is the one taken showing the very high energy input. And you can see the difference in the slope of those two.
And this is the one that was north or northwest.
That was the one that had the accelerated growth.
And when your data, you found that there was a direction and a change in the energy before you've even seen these photos.
Yeah, now that I don't
Even though Dr. Levengood had not seen these images before, his findings were consistent with the photographs from the Farnham site.
It was.
That's where the energy was destructive.
That's right.
And the graph is related to energy out here,
Yeah, it'd be over in here somewhere.
suggesting that something came in from the northwest.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Unbeknownst to Dr. Levengood, this is a significant conclusion because the witnesses to the strange lights and rumbling sounds also describe the direction of flight from the northwest.
It is defined by its own complexity. One form of plasma has been named impermeable plasma. This is a type of plasma that has qualities of solid. It can literally be pushed. Hans Alvin in the 1960s and 70s studied possible military applications. In 2013, a group of material scientists reported that they have successfully generated stable, impermeable plasma with no magnetic confinement, using only ultra-high pressure blanket of cold gas. This property of plasma, to form and retain three-dimensional shape, has been used by the military to project 3D countermeasures. And plasma can be generated by lasers. Tiny pockets of plasma can be excited in air. By high-speed manipulation of the laser producing the plasma ball, realistic three-dimensional moving objects can be projected into space. Future 3D plasma projection will be able to make solid objects. But if phantom objects can be projected, it would be the ultimate camouflage, countermeasure, or disinformation technique, making solid aircraft indistinguishable from their phantom plasma countermeasure. We can no longer ignore it. We cannot afford to have strategic surprises. And because of the stigma of UFOs, with the military, with airlines, with the Navy, and even with science, very specifically, they're not looking at what's really out there. I hope that these 4 flying objects are a wake-up call to start studying the unexplained.
And I knew about the extraterrestrial issue, and I knew about sequestered technology, and I knew what it could do when it was released. My position would be this: let's keep that technology under wraps as long as possible, while we sell as much of the rest of the oil as we can for as much as possible. And then we'll take that money, and we'll use that to own the extraterrestrial technology, right? The point is, there's always people in the know and out of the know. Sometimes it's about stuff, and you're in or you're out. But there are some things you can't have the in the know and out of the know.
The word UFO is actually a disinformation term that was invented after they knew that they weren't unidentified and they knew they didn't fly. So it's sort of a mind play.
The problem has been since the early 50s, and I have the government documents. The United States government has instituted a policy of denial and control over the information. Nothing happening there, folks. Nothing happening there, folks. And if somebody persists in saying, but I saw it, then they're ridiculed. You've got a screw loose. Something's not right with them. This is absolutely just unconscionable in a country that pays lip service to freedom and individual liberty, because there have been so many people whose lives have been wrecked, whose families have been wrecked because of this policy of denial and ridicule over a phenomena that has happened worldwide for centuries.
We all want to know the nitty-gritty. Who is the company? How does the technology work to project UAPs, visualizations into space? We're not going to find that on a Google search. But what you can do is look at the big picture. Let me explain. So what is the big picture? Well, it's about asking the obvious questions.
You can get a certain amount of information out through the large media, but it's very superficial, very brief. That's what we found. The in-depth sort of disclosure of what's really going on, who's behind it, what the agenda is, that is almost always stopped. Or if they try to do it, it gets turned into something ridiculous.
I almost hate the term UFOs because they really aren't unidentified to the people that know what's going on, or the researchers too. But it's what a lot of people that have the answers felt it was safe to come out of the water, so they're putting out their information on the internet, disguised or whatever. But so these other agents, per se, they're scanning all the time to counteract what's being said by other people from Intel that think it was safe to, okay, we can put this out, or they feel like it's the right thing to do now. Enough is enough. Mankind has a right to know.
Trying to research the truth behind military technology and UAP is not really possible on the internet because, of course, it's highly classified and dark secret technology. But I think I found a way through that curtain. Defense contractors in all countries, DARPA in the US, really don't want you to know what they're up to, but they also need funding.
We're here today to talk about one of the most commonly indicted charges in the federal justice system, which is conspiracy. Now, conspiracy breaks down into multiple multiple different subsections. But from a very general standpoint, a conspiracy is, while very, very difficult to be facing because almost of how broad it is, at its core, conspiracy is an agreement between two or more people to commit a crime or a fraud against the United States government. When a federal prosecutor brings an indictment or begins a federal criminal investigation for conspiracy, what they are alleging, what they are trying to prove is simple. It is that two or more people made a conscious decision together to commit a crime. Now, what that crime might be is called a predicate offense, and it can be a very, very wide variety of crimes. But the federal prosecutors, the Department of Justice, uses this conspiracy, which is basically just a crime that involved two or more people. Hey man, let's commit a crime. Prosecutors have conspiracy. And it can create real rifts in a case for a lot of reasons. Prosecutors love conspiracy because all it takes is two people, and then you have co-defendants, you have their attempts to pit them against each other, to get some to cooperate. It can get very, very complex.
And in this current debate about UAP, I decided to look at who's doing what. And it's revealed a lot. From universities to defense contractors, they all don't want to tell you exactly the project they're working on, but they all want to boast about the type of technology that they're working on. And what that reveals is very interesting. There are two big funded areas of research: laser-induced plasma, LIP, and a real push into space technology.
This is not about us. It's not about, fame, fortune, money. There's no money anyway. And I've attended so many CE5s, is that he has found a way, a non-hostile way, to communicate with who's ever out there, because whoever's out there is depending on him to change this situation. So that, for me, is the most important. The CE5 protocols that everybody can do is going to make a darn difference. So for me, the Disclosure Project is a miracle.
Laser fusion, the idea with laser fusion, the way I'm fond of explaining it is that you're trying to make a miniature hydrogen bomb ignited by a laser. And much of the early work historically on laser fusion was actually done here. The dream, however, is to do laser fusion not just for looking at target physics or weapon physics, but to actually make electricity.
This is not about us. It's not about, fame, fortune, money. There's no money anyway. And it hasn't been easy. It has not been easy. Can I give you a hug? I love you. You just keep going. We're here. You just keep going, okay? I'll never leave you, so you just keep going. Do what you do. And do what you do the best, because if we don't do it, nobody's gonna do it. Do you understand that? Okay. Yeah, okay, can I go outside and get some sun?
I just served a non-negotiable notice of complaint. This is an official notification of your violations. You need to understand this. No one is above the law. And legislature's law on obligation under 42 U.S. Code 1986, a duty to prevent a wrong from being done. You have not done that. Emergency has just cause to suppress the Constitution or the people at large unalienable rights. The general misconception that any statute passed by legislators bearing the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any statute to be valid must be in agreement. It is impossible for both the Constitution and law violating it to be valid. One must prevail. This is an official notification of your violation. You need to understand this. No one is above the law. And legislature's law on obligation under 42 U.S. Code 1986, a duty to prevent a wrong from being done. You have not done that.
Hey, are your ideas for global takeover falling apart? Are you losing sleep over humanity's mass awakening? Is false flag terrorism fizzling out? Global warming gone cold on you? Do you want those global warming deniers to just go away? Are all your phony economic crises being exposed? Is the price of gold defying all your attempts to fix it? Is it killing the Gulf of Mexico and poisoning millions of people, reducing the population fast enough for you? War, famine, and GM food not getting it done either? No? Well, don't give up. Get disclosure. You'll be able to unite mankind with a phony problem and enslave them with one world government and taxes. Yes, Disclosure, your one-stop shop for full spectrum dominance. But wait, there's more. Sign up for Disclosure today and you'll get problem, reaction, solution absolutely free. That's right, absolutely free. Act now to be entered into our fabulous propaganda prize draw. Disclosure! Our surveys show that 9 out of 10 world leaders prefer it. Disclosure. Cleansing the minds of the unwashed masses with tantalizing, terrifying, taxable new reality.